so exciting for me when I found that I was going to be here, is the idea that I was going to be in a room full of people who were excited about talking about the integration of inner work and outer work. Am I right? Am I in the right room? Okay. So there are very few people who embody that conversation like our next speaker. And I'm really excited I get to introduce her. Her name is Reverend Angel Kyodo Williams. Do you know this woman? Because she's brilliant. She has this new book out called Radical Dharma, talking race, love, and liberation. And Angel's been going around the country having these amazing conversations, dialogues with community, and inspiring people to be in the practice of radical truth and love and honesty and community. She asked me to tell you something that kind of blew my own mind, even though I haven't seen it. Because, you know, I go around the country talking about love. It's what I do. And Angel said, tell them I have a TED Talk. It's called, It's Not About Love After All. What? I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to watch it tonight, and you guys should watch it tonight, and you guys should talk to me about it tomorrow, because I'm going to be wanting to talk about it to somebody, because I'm going to need support. So go get this book, because it's wonderful. Angel's wonderful. You're going to love this. Reverend Angel.
So I'm very excited to be here, and I should say right from the beginning that I am a New Yorker that lives in California. So I hold that bi-coastal stretch that really, I think part of that for me, has been in my life to want to look at like all of the in-between. And I'm especially happy to be here this afternoon because I feel like there's really family here. Like I came in and, you know, you have the thing like New York is my home, but in coming here, I was like, oh, Julie Chavez Rodriguez is here and Laura is here and Laura Hansen is my new family. And I had the opportunity, and we should all have the opportunity to go to a very rare thing that exists here in Sacramento, which is a Black bookstore. And so I encourage everyone to go to Underground Books and to just visit Black bookstores. So the thing that I want to talk about, and they've asked us all to be merciful and shorten the time a little bit so that we can all go and get a little bit of rest, is the notion of America. And all of us have been talking about America, and of course the purpose of our gathering here is to be at the very forefront of igniting a kind of conversation, a kind of willingness to vision something that is new and that is possible and that we all want to be able to connect to in terms of what our country is about. And we start that here in California. And most gratefully, Dolores and Jennifer, amongst others, talked about the fact that the America that we think of, that the America that we are in relationship to right now, was forged in the fire of the theft of the very lands that we're on, in genocide, in the theft of people from their lands, and the rape and the degradation of those peoples, and a kind of disappearance of the many peoples in between that, as Dolores said, has actually built the infrastructure of this country, of this state, of the cities, of the places that we live in. And it's a terrific lie, actually. So it's a peculiar thing that we often talk about this notion of an American dream, and that we want to have an American dream. And I feel like we return to this notion of like wanting so desperately to have this dream. And I often say that what we're doing is we have this relationship to America that's kind of like an abusive father. And we keep going back to that abusive relationship and hoping that it will be better this time. That we can just keep going back, we can be abused, that women can be abused, that children can be abused, and that daddy will be better this time. And that when we recreate this or repeat this notion of claiming the American dream, that actually what we're doing is potentially traumatizing the people for whom this place has continued to be a nightmare for. And that in fact, the ways in which we have chosen to thrive have been despite the intentions of the forefathers, the abusive forefathers that created this place. And I know that that's hard for many of us because we want to hold on to this idea of a dream. But I just want everyone to consider what that means for the people for which the envisioning of that dream has been, in fact, a nightmare. And it has been so over and over again, in which we have drawn people in, whether they're the Chinese people to build the railroads, whether the Japanese people to farm the lands and then ask them to go into concentration camps, or the Caucasian Aryan people that we said, no, no, you're not Caucasian. That's not the Caucasian we meant. We meant this fake idea of Caucasian, that we built this country forged in these ideas that are actually false, and that it's time for us to kind of set that aside and to begin to think of what is the new America. What is the America that, as Julie Chavez Rodriguez says, is not about what is it that we're going to grab and get and accomplish, and how can we get past the other person, but what is the America that leaves no one behind? And how do we have a visioning of a new America that leaves no one behind, not only in terms of who can be at the table, but who can be there offering the vision? And we have never had that opportunity. And I submit that if we do not create that opportunity, that if that is not our narrative, that we actually want to create a new vision for a new America, that what we're always saying is that there's someone that has the table and they have set the table and we want to include you, but it's always going to be our table. And we know that that table means that the table will be owned and occupied by the powerful. Another way in which the image of America was created is one in which one of the most insidious things we have is this false creation of an idea of race. And that false construct puts white-skinned people on the top and it puts black-skinned people on the bottom, and in the process it disappears our indigenous heritage. It asks people from other countries, from other places, to disappear their religion, their culture, their ways of being, their right to determine, to self-determine how it is that they live in the world, how it is that they abide by time, the foods that they eat, the ways that they dance, that they celebrate, the ways that they pray, the ways that they bow, the ways that they wear turbans on their hair or dreads as locks, their hair in locks and dreads. The America of old, the old American dream, asks us to all fall into the melting pot and to leave whatever it is that has been true for us behind. And those of us that have chosen to keep it or chosen to reclaim it have done so at great cost. And it's time for us to ask people, to stop asking people to pay that cost. And the best way that we can do that is to begin to set forth plans and opportunity to take the opportunity of 45 as a wake-up call, the wake-up call that it is, that we have together called forth an opportunity to say, hey, we were piddling around there. We weren't serious about a truly progressive country, truly progressive values, because we are still waiting on a white male savior. And there we got him. We got the white male savior to save what? To save the American dream. Make America white again. Make America white again. And so until we stop holding on to this, going back to this place and holding on to this old dream in which we are asking our abusive forefathers to be good to us, to include some of us, to make some more room, to set a place at the table for the Muslims, for the blacks, for the Chinese, for the gays, for the queers, for the transgender people. We are asking for exactly what we have. And they are going to exact exactly what they intend, which is to make America what it has always been intended to be. So I invite us to think of something different, to vision something entirely different, a new America. And there's no better place when you hear the accomplishments of Senator Kamala Harris, as offered by Julie in terms of what California has been doing. When you hear about the work that Dolores did with Cesar Chavez and made the whole country turn around and look and say, si se puede, we know that this possible vision for a new America will begin here. Now that's hard for me to say as a New Yorker, but I'm going to give it up and I'm going to say that this California is the alternative vision. California is the new America. And if each of us get behind visioning that and looking forward to that rather than trying to grab that old idea and bring it forth that has been a nightmare for other people, if we continue on that path towards the vision that we are already expressing, but we do it with a new narrative that says we need a new America, and we are ready to vision that new America, and we are ready to make sure not that people are invited to the table, but that we deconstruct this table completely and build something completely anew. In the Buddhist tradition, we have this saying, and it goes with all of our practices, our blessings, our mantras, is we always say, for all beings, for the sake of all beings. For the sake of all beings is the same as for all my relations. The way that we get there is that we leave no one behind. Not just in who shows up at the table, but in envisioning what is that table even going to look like. And the attitude that we bring to it is si se puede. Si se puede. We can do it, but we need the right narrative. We need a new story. We need a new dream. We need to usher a kind of compassionate sense of grief for losing that old dream and letting it go. Maybe we just have a big ceremony together. But we have to let that go and stop holding on to that so that we really, truly begin to make room. And I believe that it's not just going to be the progressive people, the left people, that are going to want to participate in that new vision. I believe that when we talk about visioning a new America, that we are going to bring the people that are afraid that they are going to be left behind, that are afraid that as this country turns, as it is, into a majority minority, as California is right at the door of, that they'll want to participate and they'll see that our intention, our hope, our vision is not to recreate another version of that old dream in which some people are seen and heard and acknowledged and taken care of, that suddenly white is not welcome to the table, but rather that we are all welcome to the table, that we're calling forth our cultures, that we're shifting our attitudes, that we're changing our behaviors, and that we're inviting everyone just as they are to show up. This will not be easy. It will not be easy. But if we don't begin to conceptualize a new vision for a new America, then we won't even be able to move in that direction. We'll be stuck, part of our bodies behind, and part of our bodies stretching forth something that we never actually had. So why don't we just put it down gracefully, express our grief, our sense of loss for what we hoped it would be, and get to work on what it can be. Get to work, leaving no one behind, with the attitude of yes, we can. Si se puede. Thank you so much. Enjoy your evening.